And welcome back to Sports Talk. Doug Miles and Don Henderson with you. And Don, some sad news in a way, although not totally unexpected. But we are going to spend the next few minutes talking about the great legendary Vin Scully, who passed away a few days ago as we talk today at the age of 94. Of course, he retired 6 years ago from the Dodgers after 67 years behind the microphone calling both Brooklyn and Los Angeles Dodger games. But, boy, what a life and what a legacy he left, huh?
Yeah, and as most of the stories have been written about him, Doug, I have to be very honest about it. There'll never be another one like him, and most people, even Phil Mustick in the New York Post over the weekend, said that, if he were to go to be hired today as a baseball announcer, he probably wouldn't be hired. And yet he is considered by most of the experts as the greatest baseball announcer in the history of the game, not only from length of time, but his presentation of each game and each batter and each performance on the field was unduplicated.
Yeah, I've been watching some of the videos on YouTube of interviews that he did. Remember the last season, toward the end of that year, he was doing a lot of interviews with the other broadcasters. I was watching some of those and just some of the great games you can see on YouTube. Some of the radio broadcasts from Brooklyn days are available. It's just kind of fun to hear those. I know you had a chance, I guess, growing up in the New York area to hear him originally, right, along with Red Barber, didn't you?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it was great, and you're exactly right. I did. I grew up with the opportunity to see him or hear him and then see him later on. But I was also very happy to see that they did a little tribute after the Dodger game last night on television. They had a segment with Vin Scully, and it was really very, very good to see that they put a little segment on at the end of the game. But going back to your question, yes, I remember when it was Red Barber and Connie Desmond. Not many people remember that. That was in the 1940s, 1944, 45, 46. Vince didn't come in, of course, until he graduated from Fordham University at 22 years of age. And the way he got associated with Red Barber and the way he got associated with the broadcast was Red Barber did a CBS around the college football scene, like around the NFL today, going from one ballpark to another. And Vin Scully, coming out of Fordham, was assigned to go to Boston to do the Boston College game. And they had no press box room for him, so he was on the roof. And it was a snowy, rainy, cold day, freezing cold day. But it happened that game was the best game of the day. And Red Barber kept going back to him and back to him and back to him. And then when the game was over, he went into the Dodgers and said, I think we got a young guy that we ought to bring here and interview. And that's exactly how he got in. Red Barber said, this guy's got tremendous talent to be a part of our broadcast team. And then he came in as part of the Dodger broadcast in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I heard that story, too. And I guess he wasn't even wearing a winter coat. He just stood out there. I guess he didn't think it would be that cold up there. And he never complained. So it paid off for him, didn't it?
No question about it. You're right. He never complained. He was on the roof, not even in the press box, which was really astounding. But in those days, because he was really reporting for Red CBS, you think they would have made room for him somewhere, but they didn't.
Well, back in those years, I mean, particularly football stadiums, the press boxes were like a lot of the time. He even said in several interviews, a lot of games back when he started, you did them outside almost, or the press box was really open air. It isn't like it is today.
No, nothing like today, and the games are nothing like today. But I'll tell you, what a great life, as you said. The number of years, 67, I believe it was.
67.
And just a tremendous, excuse me, just a tremendous life. Nobody gets to do exactly what they want their entire life, but Vin Scully did.
And really a talented broadcaster, too. I remember as a kid that he had a talk show at one point, kind of like a Mike Douglas show. He would come out and interview people and sing. He was not a bad singer, and he also had a game show. I found that out on YouTube a few years ago, back in, I think, 69 on NBC. So not only did he do baseball, of course, but he did the game show, the talk show. Remember, he did golf for NBC for a long time, CBS, too, and then, of course, football. So really one of the all-time, all-around broadcasters.
Yeah, I don't know if it was his decision not to continue because, as you said, he was associated with NBC, he was associated with CBS, he did the World Series, he did golf, as you indicated. He did so many different things. Maybe the fact was that he was doing 156 games when it was baseball.
Right.
And maybe he just decided enough was enough, and he stepped away from some of those secondary assignments. I'm just guessing there. I don't know why he gave it all up, but he almost never did it after 25 years ago.
I think I heard an interview that after the Dwight Clark catch, remember he called that for CBS in the playoffs, the famous catch in '81. I think it was '81, or '82, whatever it was, '81, and that was his last game. He left CBS after that. So yeah.
And also the fact that you remember, if your team was in the playoffs or the World Series, you had the assignment to broadcast the games. But then they went to the formula they use now where they have their own individual broadcasters. And if you are the television announcer for, let's say, the Dodgers, you don't get to do the games when it comes to the playoffs of the World Series. Fox or whoever's got the rights, they take over.
Yeah, it used to be. I remember as a kid when the Mets in '69, Lindsey Nelson joined Kurt Gowdy, remember? And whatever the home team announcer for that team, they do get to do the games in that ballpark. So, yeah, unfortunately, they stopped doing that. But, just to kind of wrap up on Vin, I mean, the style that he had, the one-man booth, which I think they should go back to and never will, I guess. But just that way of storytelling. And I remember watching him the last few years. You could pick him up on Sirius radio. All the games are there, some on TV as well. But just a joy to listen to, even if you didn't care about the Dodgers. Just listening to him tell stories was great.
Well, just to follow up on that, I used that exact line. I did a piece for another network earlier on. They asked me about Vince, and I said, well, the younger listeners had one chance to really have an association with Vin Scully, and that was on XM, because he did the games all by himself, as you indicated, right up until the end 6 years ago. So if you were a young fella, say 15, 16, 17, and you watched the TV and yes, Major League Baseball at night, and a Dodger game was on, Vince did it by himself. So you had a chance to really, it was a unique experience to listen to him.
Yep, no doubt about it. Great Vin Scully. A life well lived on. I mean, like you said, you can't do any better than that, right?
No, I can't do any better than that. Everybody wishes to have the best of the life of their job, and he had it.
Yep, no doubt. Remembering Vin Scully on the program, and we'll be back in just a minute.